Imagine a country where the economy is shining like a bright star. While most of Europe is struggling, Spain stands out with impressive growth in 2024. Picture this: Spain not only meets but exceeds its economic goals, overtaking big players like Germany. That's not just a dream, it's happening. Spain's economy is reaching new heights with falling unemployment and rising stock markets. It's a story of success that everyone is watching.
But here's the twist. Despite all these positive numbers, many people in Spain aren't cheering. They feel something is missing. How can that be? There's a puzzle behind the glowing reports. It's not just about data, it's about real lives. This podcast will explore why some Spaniards feel unhappy even when everything seems perfect on paper. Let's dive into the unknown story behind Spain's current economic statistics.
Now that we've seen the big picture, let's dive into the details of Spain's economic success. Recent years have been bright for Spain, with employment levels on the rise and inflation going down. The national debt has also seen a reduction, which is a positive sign. These numbers are not common across Europe, making Spain a unique story. The improvements in these key metrics have put the country on a promising path, showing resilience and growth.
Despite the positive statistics, there's a layer of skepticism among the public. A surprising 64% of Spaniards still think the economy is not doing well. This raises questions about how people connect with these numbers on a personal level. While the country appears to prosper, many feel that this economic progress doesn't reflect their everyday experiences. So, what's causing this gap between perception and reality?
Understanding this sentiment requires us to look beyond the usual economic indicators. While jobs are rising and debt levels are falling, people may be dealing with issues that numbers can't capture. Perhaps it's personal economic struggles or other factors that statistics don't fully explain. The real challenge is not just about keeping the positive numbers, but ensuring that these improvements translate into people's lives.
Exactly. When large-scale achievements don't align with personal experiences, it can lead to a feeling of disconnection. This economic story has a lot of layers, and solving this puzzle involves looking at more than just statistics. We need to understand the underlying factors influencing public opinion. By exploring these different aspects, we can get a clearer picture of why many Spaniards feel left out of this economic success.
As we continue our conversation about Spain's economic story, let's turn our attention to the political leadership that helped spark this remarkable progress. The spotlight falls on Pedro Sanchez and his Socialist Party. Since 2018, they've been at the helm during turbulent times. Despite challenges like the European energy crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic, Sanchez's government has guided Spain through economic rough waters with impressive policies that brought about transformation.
Indeed, one of the most noteworthy actions taken by Sanchez's government has been in renewable energy. By investing heavily in this sector, Spain managed to shield both its citizens and industries from the surge in energy prices that hit much of Europe. This not only helped keep costs down for Spanish people during tough times, but also positioned the country as a leader in green energy. The move wasn't just about economic benefits. It was also about sustainability.
These strategic moves taken by the socialist leadership underline a strong commitment to long-term economic resilience. By focusing on renewable energy, they effectively reduced the dependency on imports and fostered local industries. The benefits are manifold, reflecting in lower energy bills and stable markets that contribute to a broader sense of security. Under Sanchez, Spain has seen a way forward through tough negotiations and insightful policymaking, making use of their expertise in the economic field.
Absolutely. The energy sector isn't the only area where the government's actions have paid off. Spain's approach to fostering growth during energy crises has also been a standout feature of this administration. The focus on structural reforms has opened new opportunities, further buoys up industries, and creates a competitive edge. These policies clearly showcase how political leadership can directly influence economic health and stability, transforming challenges into significant opportunities.
In order to understand Spain's current economic state, we need to explore its past, particularly during Franco's rule. After the Spanish Civil War in 1939, the country faced significant hardships. Franco led a military dictatorship that excluded Spain from the benefits of the Marshall Plan due to its ties with Nazi Germany. This exclusion meant that Spain missed out on crucial economic support, setting the stage for years of economic stagnation and hardship.
Exactly. But things began to change with the involvement of the United States. The U.S. established military bases in Spain, providing financial aid in return. This aid acted as a catalyst for change, allowing Spain to start a journey towards industrial growth and economic liberalization in the mid-20th century. The financial support and investment brought new life to the economy, marking a pivotal shift from years of struggle to a period of burgeoning industrialization and integration into global markets.
This era marked the beginning of what some call the Spanish miracle, where foreign investment played a massive role in revitalizing the economy. Spain established relationships with organizations like the IMF and OECD, receiving millions of dollars in investment. This led to significant industrial transformation, resulting in a burgeoning economy that slowly began to lift out of stagnation.
Indeed. Despite this growth, Franco imposed tough restrictions on labor movements and unions, reflecting his deep dislike for socialist ideologies. This suppression stalled some aspects of progress, as workers had little leverage in advocating for better conditions. However, the economic base laid during this period set the groundwork for the advancements that would come later, after Franco's rule ended. Understanding this complex past helps us appreciate the intricate layers behind Spain's current economic narrative.
As the Franco era came to an end, Spain faced new challenges. The country was eager to modernize and catch up with its European neighbors. The Socialist Party, which came to power in the 1980s, introduced important economic reforms. They undertook unpopular decisions like austerity measures and privatization of state monopolies. These steps, though tough, were necessary to strengthen the economy and set Spain on a new path. The changes aimed at integrating Spain more closely with the global economy, setting the stage for future growth.
Joining the European Union in 1986 was a pivotal moment for Spain. EU membership opened up new markets and brought a wave of investment. Transitioning to the euro in 2002 further integrated Spain into Europe. These moves had a profound impact on Spain's economic trajectory, offering stability and growth opportunities. The economic policies and reforms of the 1980s laid the groundwork for these developments. The struggles and initiatives of this period are key in understanding Spain's evolution into a more competitive and dynamic economy.
However, this period was not without its difficulties. The transition brought about significant social changes that affected day-to-day life. Spain had to deal with the challenges of modernizing its industries and restructuring its labor market. While reforms made companies more competitive, they also uprooted existing ways of working. The need to align with EU standards pushed Spain to reform various sectors, ensuring they could compete on the global stage.
Exactly. These structural changes led to both positive growth and complex social adjustments. While the economy was on a path toward stability and expansion, many Spaniards faced uncertainties regarding their jobs and lifestyles. Nevertheless, the commitment to European integration proved fruitful in the long run. By aligning itself with Europe's economic framework, Spain positioned itself as a key player in the European market. Understanding this transformation helps us appreciate the complexity of Spain's economic journey during this period.
When the 2008 financial crisis struck, Spain faced one of its toughest times. The country was enjoying a housing boom, with property prices rising sharply. However, this booming sector was heavily reliant on borrowed funds. The bubble eventually burst, leading to devastating consequences across the economy. Unemployment soared, and people were left struggling. The housing market crash revealed weaknesses in Spain's financial system, and the situation required something more than just simple repair.
Absolutely, and the impact was immense. With high unemployment rates and many workers facing an uncertain future, Spain had to look for help from the European Union. The EU provided a substantial bailout to stabilize the banks. However, it wasn't just about bank survival. Finding long-term solutions became crucial. The government introduced infrastructure projects worth billions to generate jobs and stimulate economic activity. This approach slowly set the groundwork for recovery, steering Spain away from the brink of disaster.
Spain aimed to transform the crisis into an opportunity by focusing on structural reforms. These infrastructure projects were not just temporary fixes. They helped modernize various sectors, paving the way for future growth. Yet challenges remained, as it required strong political will and commitment to carry through these necessary changes. Many questioned if the nation could sustain the momentum without faltering again. Despite opinions being divided, the initiatives began to show positive results.
Moving past the initial shock, Spain saw gradual improvements. The projects absorbed some of the unemployment, and the economy slowly began to pick up. Still, skepticism lingered as people were hesitant to trust after such a large economic downfall. But over time, the economy started regaining its footing, demonstrating resilience. The key lay in finding a balance between immediate relief and long-term stability, ensuring lessons were learned from past mistakes to avoid making them in the future.
Picking up from where we left, let's discuss the present challenges and reforms in Spain. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, serious changes are being made to the labor market. One of the major reforms includes increasing the minimum wage significantly. This move aims to reduce wage inequalities, making Spain among the countries with the lowest salary gap. Surprisingly, rather than increasing unemployment, these efforts have helped lower it. By restructuring labor laws, temporary workers are transitioning into more stable, full-time roles.
While these changes may sound positive, not everyone is satisfied. Public sentiment still reflects a level of dissatisfaction, particularly in terms of living costs. Despite the country's overall economic growth, many people face challenges in affording housing, which remains a key concern. This paradox of macroeconomic growth versus real-life struggles is puzzling many. It appears that while reforms are indeed beneficial, the rising costs, especially for housing, are dampening public perception.
It's clear that the government is trying hard to bridge the gap between macroeconomic success and public dissatisfaction. Part of this effort includes providing more rights and strength to labor unions, which were historically weakened. These organizations now have more influence and rights, making the job market fairer. Changes also ensure that sector-based agreements are prioritized over individual ones, thus offering better protection to workers. Such measures are being hailed as significant advancements for worker rights in Spain.
Yes, it's an impressive feat. However, overcoming the challenges associated with living costs still remains a daunting task. Despite government initiatives, real estate prices and renting costs continue to climb, making it difficult for many Spaniards to secure affordable housing. Addressing this housing crisis is crucial, as it's interconnected with people's perception of economic stability. As they say, numbers don't always tell the full story, and this is evident in the way individuals experience daily life despite positive economic figures.
As we wrap up our journey through Spain's economic transformation, it's clear that the story is one of both triumphs and challenges. Spain has navigated through tough waters to emerge as an economic powerhouse in Europe, showing resilience and innovation. However, the disconnect between economic data and public sentiment is a complex issue that reflects deeper social concerns. Understanding this narrative helps in appreciating the nuanced picture of Spain's growth.
As we conclude today, we must acknowledge Spain's role as a potential economic model for others, stemming from strategic reforms and adaptability. Yet, the ongoing challenges remind us that economic success is multifaceted. If you found our exploration insightful, please like and comment on today's episode. Your feedback helps us bring more stories like these. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming content. Thank you for joining us on this journey.